There is no analogy to Christianity in The Lord of the Rings. I cordially dislike Allegory in all its manifestations. But Tolkien has also said that The Lord of the Rings is, of course, a fundamentally religious and Catholic work. In this video, I will teach you how to find Christ in The Lord of the Rings, and it's not how you'd expect. So it may be said that the chief purpose of life for any one of us is to increase, according to our capacity, our knowledge of God by all the means we have, and to move by it to praise and thanks. J.R.R. Tolkien is my favorite author of all time. I've read 5 of his books. Many enjoyers of the Lord of the Rings movies love to point out the fun trivia facts, that Tolkien was a lifelong devoted Catholic, and that he was friends with another famous author, C.S. Lewis, who wrote the legendary Chronicles of Narnia series.
I was there when it was written.
Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia series is a children's book series, which is a direct analogy to the sacrifice of Christ upon the cross. I used to assume that Tolkien and Lewis had the same idea of making their pieces of fiction analogous to Christ, and thus bringing glory to God. But after reading 5 of Tolkien's books and 16 of Lewis's books, this is just clearly not the case. But I have discovered how to find God in Lewis's writing and in Tolkien's. But Tolkien does not use metaphor like Lewis. Tolkien's style is just as obvious as Lewis's metaphors, but it's hidden in plain sight.
People do not fully understand the difference between an allegory and an application. You can go to a Shakespeare play and you can apply it to things in your mind if you like, but they're not allegories.
So once I point it out to you, you'll be able to spot it next time you read Tolkien and apply it to your life. If you want to watch the extended version of this video, consider becoming a member. This channel only has one member named David, so it's pretty much his video until anyone else joins. Jesus uttered a loud cry and breathed his last. The most powerful image of the Gospels is Christ upon the cross. Christ owes mankind nothing, but sacrifices his life for them anyway. This virtue of self-sacrifice is personified everywhere in The Lord of the Rings, but none more powerfully than at the Battle of the Black Gate. Aragorn leads the last alliance of men in a battle against Sauron, right at his front door. Aragorn and every man who signed up for that battle knew that they would lose.
We cannot achieve victory through strength of arms.
Not for ourselves, but we can give Frodo his chance if we keep Sauron's eye fixed upon us.
Is it any surprise that we find this scene so compelling? It's not a metaphor. It's valiant men like Aragorn living out the Christ-like virtue of self-sacrifice and bravery.
For Frodo.
The doctrine that God was under no necessity to create is not a piece of dry scholastic speculation, it is essential. While Aragorn was drawing out the armies of Mordor, Frodo and Sam were ascending the slopes of Mount Doom to destroy the ring. Frodo just got done berating Samwise for no reason, kicking him out of the company for being framed for being hungry, and after all of that abuse, Sam pulls out this one from out of his back pocket.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you!
God didn't have to create you, but he did because he loves you, which you don't deserve. Who has first given to me that I should repay him? Not only that, but he died on the cross for you, and sustains your life every day for you, and you thank him by disobeying his commandments, and complaining about how much your back hurts every 45 seconds. Samwise personifies God's love for an undeserving person in this scene. That's why we love it so much, because God did that for us. Not an analogy, but a Christ-like virtue. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross, and follow me. One of my favorite character dynamics in The Lord of the Rings is Aragorn and Eowyn.
It's the beards.
Even though they never ended up together. But I'm glad that they didn't. Had this storyline been written by a modern screenwriter, they might have had Aragorn get with Eowyn and betray his loyalty to Arwen. After all, why shouldn't you just follow your heart? You don't believe me? In the American show The Office, the writers planned to have Jim cheat on his wife with a random secretary. But John Krasinski, who played Jim, absolutely refused to do it that way. Do you still wonder why you love Jim so much? And why you love Aragorn so much?
I would have gone with you to the end.
Aragorn could have easily exploited the fact that Eowyn was throwing herself at him, but he didn't. He denied his desire for female companionship so that he would remain faithful to Arwen, denying himself and following after what is good, a Christ-like virtue. Joseph, being a just man and unwilling to put her to shame, resolved to divorce her quietly. When Joseph saw that his fiancée Mary was all pregnant, he could have used the law to literally have her stoned. But instead, he sought not to bring shame to Mary. Aragorn lives out that same principle here. He could have really embarrassed Eowyn and rejected her brutally.
Why have you come?
Do you not know?
But instead, he rejected her gently and graciously.
I cannot give you what you seek.
Do not repay evil for evil. King Theodan has one of the best character arcs in The Lord of the Rings. He's weak and decrepit because of the manipulation of Saruman at the beginning, but once he's freed from Saruman's curse, he's still not that great. He admits that Aragorn led the armies of Rohan at Helm's Deep and not himself.
It was not Theodan of Rohan who led our people to victory.
At that battle, King Theoden called for aid from Gondor, but the steward Denethor refused to send any. Then once the tables were flipped and Gondor needed aid from Rohan 15 seconds later, Theoden answers with this.
The beacons are lit! Gun knuckles for aid!
And Rohan will answer. Yes! Muster the Rohirrim!
The reason that Jesus says to turn the other cheek and Peter says do not repay evil for evil is simple moral math. If something evil has been done to you, then there is one evil deed added to the world. If you strike back with evil, there are now 2 evil deeds in the world.
I know your face.
King Theoden would end up dying defending the walls of Minas Tirith, and in death, he personified this biblical virtue. That's why we love King Theoden so much. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. After the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, the Ghost Army stands in front of Aragorn. Aragorn and the Ghost Army had made a deal that the Ghost would fight for Aragorn, the heir of Isildur, and in exchange Aragorn would free them and allow them to pass on from their ghostly state.
Release us. Bad idea. Very handy in a tight spot, these lads, despite the fact they're dead.
Many fans have argued, why didn't Aragorn just take Gimli's suggestion and have them stick around a little longer and plow through Mordor with their invincible ghost powers?
You gave us your word.
Aragorn could have done this, but instead he said this.
I hold your oath fulfilled. Go, be at peace.
Satan is the father of all lies, which is a similarity that he shares with Sauron. There are few more evil deeds than to manipulate the truth, but that's why we love Aragorn so much, because he is truthful. What other Christ-like virtues do you see in The Lord of the Rings? Drop a comment and let me know.